Nathan Judo. I'm here with Wolves reporter is Mr. Liam Keane. This is the first time I think I've ever said this result. Wolverhampton Wanderers 2, Chelsea 6. I don't know where to start. I think well, let's take it half by half,
yeah.
Okay? Let's start with the first half today. One change from Wolves, a little bit of a surprise, I guess. Mateus Cunha coming in, but at the expense of Rodrigo Gomez. And you want to start well, and the warning signs were there straight away, weren't they, from Madueke? Decent save by Sarr, too much space. Chelsea go 1-up. But it was an entertaining game that actually, in the end, Wolves shaded that first half.
Yeah, that first goal is really poor to concede. 2 minutes into the game, you have to be better for the set piece, and Jackson is completely left unmarked, isn't he, at the back post. I think Matt Doherty's got to do better there. And it's a poor goal to concede, and you're 1-0 down. But Wolves reacted really well, they did. They took the game to Chelsea, they dominated the ball, they gave them a few opportunities and chances here and there, but it was end-to-end stuff, and Wolves shaded it really. Getting back into the game with a really, really well-worked goal. Bellegarde actually was really good first half.
Yeah. Wins
the ball in midfield, finds Aït-Nouri, who does really well to find Cunha, and it's a good finish. And then you can see the really amateurish second goal. There's a debate whether the ball was rolling or not. I haven't seen a replay, but there's a lot of people have told me the ball was rolling from Sanchez. But regardless of that, you can't defend in that manner. You have to be alert to this situation. Sanchez is very clever, plays the ball quickly. Mosquera caught no man's land, and all of a sudden Cole Palmer lobs Jose Sarr, who's again also in no man's land, and it's 2-1. Wolves look like they're going into the break half-time 2-1 down, and Jorgen Larsson pops up with a massive moment for him, and a really good set piece from Wolves at the other end. And you go into half-time 2-2. We both feel that Wolves were just about the better side, deserved probably to be ahead. Played a lot of really good attacking football, some difficult defensive moments.
A good time to get in at half-time, though, you think?
A good time, I think, also because they're on the up. They feel like they're in control of the game. And we did feel it could go either way in that second half, but the Wolves were in a good position. And they came out, and it was unbelievably poor defending from start to finish.
Concede 2 minutes into the first half is bad enough. Concede 3 minutes into the second half.
4 minutes, yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's just unforgivable.
Yeah, and it's a player that, as you said there, Noni Madueke, who had done well in the first half, and actually Aït-Nouri was really struggling against him. And it was more finishing issues from Chelsea slash decision making why Madueke didn't have a bigger impact in that first half. Not because Aït-Nouri defended well against him. Aït-Nouri was really struggling.
Yeah.
The signs were there. Wolves played as they were and got caught out time and time again. It took 14 minutes for Madueke to score his hat-trick from the 49th minute, and it was just so amateurish the way that they gave the ball away. And the third one itself is probably the worst of the lot. João Gomez, who I thought really struggled in that second half today, gets caught on the ball almost on the edge of Wolves' box. Yeah. It's so poor, and it's just an easy couple of passes. Madueke's got the ball, he's shown inside again down bottom corner. It's just they did the same mistakes over and over and over again, and that's the most frustrating point.
Rayan Aït-Nouri had a day that he will want to forget very, very quickly. And I guess you've got a lot of question marks now. Wolves have played 2, lost 2, albeit we knew it was going to be a difficult start against Arsenal. But at least in Arsenal, there were periods of the game where they were in control. It didn't look like they were going to get blitzed. They've been blitzed there. The question marks will now happen. Should you be playing 4 at the back? Should you play 3 at the back or 5 at the back, if you want to say it? Can Rayan Aït-Nouri play as a fullback? The other fullback that would probably play, if you're going to play fullback, Hugo Bueno has gone to Feyenoord. So you've kind of made your bed, really, to a certain extent. But there will have to be some big inquests in that dressing room tonight from Gary O'Neill about these players, because like you say, at 2-2 you go into that half, you think Wolves could nick this, Wolves could win this. At the same time, you did fear, and we feared at the time, they could lose 5-2 because of how open it was. They've got to sort this out very quickly. Craig Dawson came on in that second half to give a little bit of solidity, I guess, but there are definitely a lot more questions and answers going into Burnley on Wednesday, and then of course Nottingham Forest, which is a difficult game in itself, on Saturday.
Yeah, I think Dawson shored it up to some extent in that second half, albeit Wolves do concede a 6th as well with João Felix, and Neto celebrates wildly, slightly bizarrely, for getting the assist for that goal. But the issue Wolves have got is that they've been here before. They've been here before with Bruno Lage, where they tried to change before and it quickly fell apart. I'm not suggesting that will happen again now with Gary Neal. I think Wolves are in a better place now than they were then under Bruno Lage. But there are a lot of parallels, and they have to find a way to make this aggressive, high-tempo, high-octane system work. And they did in that first half, albeit they gave away 2 pretty rubbish goals. It was an entertaining game, it was an open game, and Wolves were really good going forward. But my word, were they open. And their warning signs were there, as we talked about Aït-Nouri warning signs. The warning signs were there, Wolves defensively throughout that whole first half. And that second half, yes, Chelsea were clinical. Wolves maybe a little bit of bad luck with the first Madueke goal, gets a big deflection. But just these small decisions, Aït-Nouri last week against Saka, allowing Saka in on his left foot, it's criminal to do that. He's done it again today, where he's been constantly showing Madueke onto either foot, really. He didn't know where to go, he didn't know what to do, he was getting caught out time and again. Now, you talk about an inquest in the dressing room. Gary Neal's walked to the South Bank. Obviously a lot of fans are left at this point at the end of the game. He's held his hands up, pointed to himself, indicating it's his responsibility, it's his fault, he takes responsibility for the loss. The Wolves fans have responded with a chant in support of their manager. It's only 2 games into the season, it's not a disaster. But Gary Neal and the leaders in that dressing room will have a lot of big questions for a lot of players around them, who cannot look themselves in the mirror tonight and think they've done a good job.
Look, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? Because we've seen in pre-season 4 at the back, training 4 at the back, matches 4 at the back, Arsenal 4 at the back, 4 at the back here. For them to, do they tear it up now and go to a 3, or do you think that that's like, no, this is the way we're going to play, this is what I want to do, I back my players? Well, do you expect, let's take Burnley to one side, which I'm sure we'll see a much changed side, going to Nottingham Forest? Do you think today, standing here now watching that, do you think they'd go with a 4 again?
I think Gary Neal's a very, very good coach. I think Wolves have had a very, very good pre-season. I think if you rip up the blueprint after 2 losses, but one in particularly bad loss, I think would be naive. But I think if we're still having these same conversations
4 games into the season,
even late September, maybe at a push, I don't know, after the international break, maybe mid-September, early September, then it starts to become a real question mark. I don't think you can throw it, you can completely throw the game plan out the window now, but there's clearly a lot to work on. And I was speaking to someone actually just before full time who made a good point, and I'd like to reiterate that point.
Was it me?
It wasn't you, it's never you. This is what happens when you sell your best defender and don't replace them. Wolves have got to go into the market. Wolves have got to replace Max Kilman. He is a bigger loss than Pedro Neto is to this team by far.
I'll probably disagree with you there, but at the same time, I think that, like you say, you go into Friday now, you go into deadline day. Of course, all the calls now, apart from the back 3, back 4 conversation, is going to be, can Wolves strengthen? They know they missed out on Dara O'Shea. He's gone to Ipswich. They didn't want to pay, the money that they were asking for. But does this, when you're Jeff Shee, when you're Matt Hobbs, when you're Fosun, and you're watching this game, when you're watching what's unfolding, how early onto the season you've got 5 days to change it, to get someone across the line? Do you think that might change certain opinions, maybe certain amounts of budget, because of the kind of game and the kind of second half we've just witnessed here?
Yeah, it's probably human nature to ask that question first of all. It's human nature maybe to have that thought process. But as a business, as a football club, Wolves have never been the kind of club to panic into those kind of signings, and I'd be surprised if they do that now. I don't think, and I don't think it's a wise thing to do, to be perfectly honest. I think if you start to do that, you start to set a precedent of making poor, rushed decisions, and I don't think Wolves will do that. So I don't think that's the answer. I think the answer is to continue with the targets you have been working on for players that you believe are the players that will improve this team, and Wolves will bring signings in before the end of the window. We now need to see the quality of those signings and hopefully have them rush through relatively quickly.
Nottingham Forest away in the league, then Newcastle at home, then Villa away, then Liverpool at home. I mean, it does not get any easier, and we knew it was going to be a difficult start, but they want to get points on the board, don't they? You want to get points on the board. If this is 3 from 2 games or 3 from 3 games, then okay, you can swallow it, but all of a sudden City Ground becomes a big game for me next weekend.
Yeah, it does, and it's a tough place to go. It's a very good atmosphere, the City Ground. It's intense. It's an old school stadium where the fans are right on top of you. There's obviously a little bit of previous with obviously Morgan Gibbs White and with Wolves and Forest over the last couple of years that will make it a pretty intense atmosphere. Nuno factor, of course, and Forest will be right up for that game.
absolutely.
And they should be as well.
Got to win at Southampton.
Exactly, they should be. And if Wolves don't match that intensity, they're in trouble. They have to match that intensity, and they're more than capable of doing that. Wolves are more than capable of going to Nottingham Forest and walking away with a comfortable victory.
Yeah.
At the same time, they're also capable of imploding. That's where they've now got to try and take stock. And these next few days, Gary getting around the players, getting into training, will be really important. Bring them back down to earth. Look, lads, we've got a lot more work to do, and that's a massive game.
Wolves 2, Chelsea 6. For all the post-match reaction, make sure you log on to expressthestar.com.